It's freedom that gives a man his dignity. And this guy had the temerity to, Mr. Marcos had the temerity to deprive 19 million, how many were we then? 24 million Filipinos at that time of a God-given right. Freedom is so precious, and God thought so, that He even gave us the freedom to reject Him by giving us free will. So who is Marcos to take that away from us, I mean, and yet he had, like I said, the temerity to take that away. So more than anything else, you get to see that this is a human right, and this is a God-given right that must be defended, even if you had to lay down your life, because it's what gives meaning to your life.
The evils that we experienced are something that we should really not only try to avoid, but make sure that will not again be imposed on us by anybody. No, I feel optimistic at this time because Filipinos are more politicized, and they are more involved than the Filipinos before 1972. Before 1972, there was really no people empowerment, and I guess the only power then of the masses was to vote. People know that if they band together, if they are organized, then they have a voice, they are listened to, and they're able to do something for themselves.
Make sure that the state is properly defended during extreme emergencies that are so serious that they justify extreme measures. During the time of President Aquino, immediately after the December 89 coup attempt, the President, the Senate President, then Jovito Salonga, and myself as Secretary of National Defense got together so that we could put out new legislation that would define the special crime of coup attempt against the state and provide for much more severe punishments. And this was enacted by Congress and approved by President Aquino. Defenses for the state of that nature must be put in place so that we have some means short of martial law to handle the situation. In the 1987 Constitution, I think there is a very good mechanism in the constitutional framework to do this, but many of these are not yet put into enabling acts by Congress, and I think that should be reviewed. Not that we are expecting any coup attempts now or serious external threats, but there could be some internal threats that we might have to handle.
Because of martial law, we had to fight it. So the Filipinos learned that they had enough of the fighting spirit to withstand and last martial law. It tested the Filipino people. It forced the Filipino people to unite against an obvious evil force against them. Which is why I think it's more difficult now, because there's no obvious evil force to fight against. But martial law and Marcos gave you a solid, concrete representation. I think martial law is important to us because it gave us reason to unify. It defined us better as a people in the Philippines' relationship to the rest of the world, especially the forces that we feel is oppressing the rest of the world. So in that way, it also gave us a global perspective of the Philippines in relation to the international scene. Let me repeat that. It gave us a global perspective of our position in the international scene, politically, economically, and culturally.
Yung maaaring ipamana sa bayang Filipino, in terms of goodness, in terms of greatness, wala ako nalalamang goodness and greatness. Maaring nagkakaiba kami ng paniniwala ng ilang kong mga kaibigan. Ngunit ang kanyang legacy na iniwanan sa atin yung we cannot just wait for freedom to dawn upon this land. If we want freedom, democracy, human dignity, basic human rights, we've got to work for it, fight for it, and if necessary, die for it. To me, that is the important lesson of the Marcos years. I do not consider it a legacy. That is the lesson we can derive from the Marcos years. And we have to be working for it every day of our lives.